What? Corinne, you're acting like you don't know that the show has started. I snuck it in front of you, a mic that is, and now the show has begun. And if you don't know where you are, my swimmers sure do. You're on My Safe Word Is More. My name is Al Jackson. I am a full-time stand-up comic, a full-time talk show host on Daily Blast Live. Check it out every day. And a full-time father of three. But also, I am the proud partner with the one, the only Mrs. Corinne Kaplan. You may know her from not one, but two appearances on Survivor. You may know her from one amazing appearance on The Amazing Race, but you definitely know her as a swimmer on this show. Give it up for your dedicated swim coach, Mrs. Corinne Kaplan.
Thank you. Round of applause for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just want to say that my appearance, as you called it, on The Amazing Race was not amazing. I think Eliza would agree. And I didn't just make appearances on Survivor.
You made several appearances.
I did 2 seasons.
Well, do you consider a season an appearance? Because maybe that's like for you, you're just like one show.
No.
That's not enough.
Sweetie, the person that was voted out first made an appearance. I was on a season.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Shots fired. And speaking of calling our shots, I want to let our audience know we have so much fun stuff in store for them. First of all, Corinne, I will say this. We are going to help a fellow swimmer. We are going to evaluate his Bumble profile.
Oh, I actually do this in my head when I'm swiping through Bumble all the time. I'm like, why would you use this picture? I can't. This is not, like, nobody needs to see you in a tutu. I am very good at this.
I secretly think that is your calling. Obviously for me, it's every day's my birthday when it's banger by. So that's coming up.
Yeah, we got a lot of those actually.
And I also have a crazy story in which the end is not yet clear. It's somewhat opaque, but we have to get into that. But Corinne, tell everybody what else you got for us.
Well, for one thing, we got a new person in the studio, in this tiny ass hot studio.
Yeah. It's called The Lab.
Yes, that is. It is The Lab.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so there is a third coach in the building for your swim lesson today.
You sound like you're tiptoeing around, like talking to your kids about the fact you're in an open marriage. Yeah. Listen, your mom and dad, sometimes we need a coach with us during the game.
Person. Yeah. And so we have the absolute pleasure of Chris Clark, who is a 3-time, as he pointed out, Emmy-winning television producer. There you go.
You can tell we don't practice the intros. Emmy-winning human. Isn't the human assumed on anything?
I think that AI could win Emmys now, probably.
Yeah, I think you could.
Yeah, Chris says yes.
Yes, and I have to ask, and we will get Chris a mic, but we keep it 100 here. Chris, where in your house are your Emmys? And before you answer, Corinne, where would your 3 Emmys be when you win them? Where will they be in your house?
Okay, are you kidding? I'm the person who has a 60x48 portrait of myself, and I have won nothing.
And we have the picture to prove it.
Yeah.
What's up, Patreon?
Yeah, and that's one of 3 portraits of myself. Chris has been to my house. There are 3. Okay, just like Emmys. He has 3 Emmys. I have 3 portraits of myself.
I guarantee you there are queens of England that have 3 portraits of themselves somewhere in like the Castle of Versailles.
Truly.
Yes.
And I am very
Palace.
similar.
Yes.
I think the Emmys, my initial thought, and I'm curious where Chris has put them, my initial thought would either see, I'm going bedroom because I just feel like that's where you want that reminder. But also the main floor, which is where my 60x48 is. But like, is it not possible? Okay, can you have the main stash of Emmys and then like miniature extras, like
No, but then they'll seem like lesser Emmys. They'll be like, oh, is this for a web series? Like, no, they've all got to be the same size Emmy.
Yeah.
But you may have stumbled onto something ingenious.
Yeah.
Instead of just a traditional, like, oh, they're on my mantle or they're in my bedroom above the headboard. What if you just had them in random places? Because that's a way bigger flex. Because if you go, hey, will you go get some dryer sheets for me there in the laundry closet? And there's like, oh, there's an Emmy here. And you go, oh, I'm sorry about that.
There's just one Emmy
You're not
per
used to being
bathroom.
around people like me, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of a low-key flex. So realistically, where would you put your Emmys?
I'm still going boudoir.
In the bedroom?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. That might result in like...
No. I won these Emmys. And we're gonna all look at them while we fuck. Like, this is going to be.
But how many people that enter your home enter your bedroom? I think that's the bigger question.
That's where the problem.
What percentage?
I would have a photo of the 3 Emmys and me holding them, blown up in the main room actual, if you want to see the hardware, you got to come step into my office.
You could have just stopped it right there. Yeah. So we will ask, and I will just say, I feel like if I have Emmys, I have a foyer. And so I have them out early because I'm like, yo, I want you to know, like, this is what you're walking into. Mm-hmm. So if I'm leading with I remember when I went to go see Kanye. Well, I went to go see Frank Ocean at the FYF Fest, and Kanye stepped in for him. And it's one of Kanye's concerts where he didn't lose his mind, and he just did all his hits right in a row for 45 minutes. He comes out, he goes, we got 45 minutes, and he started with Power. And and I remember I was with my homeboy Hannibal, and he was just like, can you imagine having so many hits where you start with that song? And so maybe that's the same premise behind the Emmys. Do you just say, this is like, I know this is a big hit for y'all, but like, I got a whole bunch in this crib. So Chris, I'm going to ask you,
Chris, where are the Emmys?
On the bookshelf. First thing you see when you walk in.
There you go. All right.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it sounds like he might not have like a 4-story home like I do. So like, it's a little harder for me.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
You've got a lot of decisions. First of all, if it's a bookshelf, all my books would be like, it's okay learning to cope with not having Emmys. Yeah. Life without Emmys. Uh-huh. It can be a joyful experience as well, I guess. That would be the other book. So yes, shout out to Chris. We're excited to have him.
This is the segue I'm going to give you. So today we're going to talk about family affairs. So Al and I both have family stories. My parents came to visit, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I'd like to mention the craziest shit my parents had in their foyer, since we're on the topic. My mother is, and if you listen to
I'm so intrigued
previous
right now.
podcasts of mine, my mother is what is technically called a diamond on the road. It means that she's a huge Neil Diamond fan. And when I say huge, this is not like a small thing. She goes on tour with Neil. My father has to get her my very first concert I was ever at in my whole life was a Neil Diamond concert. I was in maybe like 3rd grade. My mother used to illegally bring in film to take photos in the darkness.
Just film?
We were in the camera is a special film that you could
it's always
back in
snowing.
The day.
Yeah.
And we were in like the 4th row at like a huge I forget the fucking name of it in Miami, but huge.
The Orange Bowl?
No, but it's like our Madison Square Garden in Miami. And
American Airlines Arena?
Yeah, but I don't think it was called that back then.
Okay, well, we'll get into infrastructure talk later.
You guys get the idea. We're in the 4th row, and we get called out by security because they saw her camera go off, and we get thrown out of the concert. That's the first concert I ever went to, and the only reason I got to go is because my father was like, I'm not going for a fucking 4th night, Dale. Take somebody else. Because she goes every single night that he's in town. If he plays 4 nights, she goes all 4 nights. So my father has to spend crazy money to get her good seats. Anyways, I come home from school one day, and in our foyer, now remember, we're Jewish, okay? I come home, and in our foyer is it scared me. It is a like 9-foot cardboard cutout of Neil Diamond, and it's like, I don't know, February, holding, she went to Sam Goody, and she asked them if she could purchase and or have, Neil Diamond sold a Christmas album, because that's the kind of man of character he is.
Okay.
He's not Christian.
Shout out.
Doesn't celebrate Christmas. He sold a Christmas album. Him holding his arms out to hold this Christmas CD, that particular cardboard cutout, my mother got a hold of. And so
there's another man
in my foyer is Neil Diamond scaring the shit out of you. And it went on for, you'd have to ask my brother, at least 10 years. That was just in our very nice foyer next to the organ, which is also a weird thing we had. There was it, and it's a cardboard cutout. He's, I don't know, probably 5'10", but the whole thing all in was like, I don't know, could have been like 8-9 feet. There's a tree behind him. It's a whole.
That is crazy town.
I know, that's why I mentioned it.
A couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
Are you just going to blow past the fact that, one, the first concert you ever went to, you were kicked out of?
Yeah.
And 2, that the first concert you ever went to with your mom, and she was also kicked out. I need to know.
She wasn't even ashamed.
Does the parent do the kneel down like when you drop the fly ball in Little League and try and get like, look, Corinne, you and your mom, we just got kicked out of a concert, and here's what that means. Like, what do you guys go do after that? Does she address the fact that you guys are out early?
So she apparently reloaded the film halfway through before she got busted. So the first thing she said to me was, I have the shots because they only confiscated the roll that was in the camera. They didn't realize she had already reloaded. So we have it framed in our house, this picture of Neil she has a wall of illegal. She has a picture of Paul McCartney. She has Rod Stewart. She did this at every concert before camera, obviously, like we're talking 80s. early 90s.
Your mom probably has some pictures that Getty would pay for. She probably
Yes,
she probably has
for
pictures
sure.
that the world would love to see, especially since a lot of these guys have aged aged a little bit, much like the trees that walked in Lord of the Rings aged. But shout out to them, incredible careers. And I will say this is a weird thing to take away from that story, but I think your dad must be packing. And here's why I think your dad's packing. Because any man that would be worried about being emasculated by walking past an 8-foot cutout of another man when he enters the home he bought.
Yeah.
The fact that your dad's like, she knows what's up, she knows whose house this is, lets me know Pops is kicking it.
He just was like, it wasn't a battle he was going to win. Like, that cardboard cutout had to be there. So, yeah, you walked in, there's a fireplace and a conversation pit, which was a thing back in the 80s. Straight up conversation pit. Like, you have to be.
What is a conversation pit?
It's just a drop down.
Oh.
I mean, I think, like, back in the day, it's like where you did blow. But
I was going to say, you mean the coke hole?
So it's a conversation pit, and there's a fireplace, and then to the left of it is this massive cutout. It's the first thing you see when you walk in.
I have always wanted a house with that.
Yeah.
That would be a selling point for me.
The conversation pit?
More than a pool. So when you walk in to see the conversation, you're like, oh, this dude ain't playing. That's a big deal. Okay.
Oh, and it was because there's one of the things I love about my parents' like aesthetic was lots of places to entertain, and so we could entertain to just be the living room. We have a pool table. But if you're gonna take it to the conversation pit, those hors d'oeuvres are perfect.
Oh.
There's, that's when you're like, that's when we have a bartender hired, someone else is bringing the drinks. Like, the conversation pit was like the really important.
Let me tell you this about myself before I circle back to one more question before we move on. I don't go to strip clubs. They don't do much, if anything, for me. It takes a lot for me at 45 to because I've been around this world, kicked around this world. I don't know if I've ever been as aroused as that description of what you just laid out. Bartender, hors d'oeuvres, conversation pit. It's the leveling up.
Yes.
You can always party in a hotel room or shit, but you got to leave. That is like your crib. It's got that old school 70s. Nobody cares that we're all chain smoking and drinking and we don't know whatever. It's that everybody in the house. No one's filming anything.
It's carpeted to all hell,
Yes,
so much carpeting.
Talk slower. Yeah. Now, Corinne, before we move on.
Sure, yeah.
You need to address my theory.
What's your theory?
Do you think Dad's packing?
Oh, I am not addressing that.
You can address it. How does he carry himself as opposed to other men that you know? Look how uncomfortable.
How would anyone want to talk about that?
You don't have to talk about it, but you can that's a good thing. He'd be like, yo, my dad's a grown man in this joint.
I mean, my dad is definitely doesn't worry much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there was a while there where we had like a painter that was coming to the house who was like really good looking. And then the painter and my mom became friends, and then the painter and my mom would hang out. It turned out the painter was gay. I never figured that out. But my father just
thought you were watching your parents' marriage disintegrate.
Yeah, I was like, I guess, is Tom going to be my new daddy? Like, Tom was around a lot. My dad had to work. Like, my mom's like, oh, Tom and I are going to a concert, But it ended up just because... Yeah.
Hey.
Anyways, okay. I'm gonna kick this off. We're gonna come full circle back to the family theme.
Do it.
But I have a story that it's gonna start a little dark, and then we'll get to the rest of it.
Like
so just
the best
bear with
stories.
me. Yeah. A lot of my stories start dark, and then they go into darker. So my Gaber that you all know and love, Jay, he has a dog named Maine, and Maine is my profile pic on Facebook, my profile pic on most dating apps. To be clear, I thought Maine was a bit of a cunt. But Maine was not that old. He was 11 years old. On Cinco de Mayo, we're supposed to go out, while out. And Maine, unfortunately, very abruptly dies. Like, codes on the table at the vet office, okay? I'm not going to get into the details because I know that saddens people. I, like the ice cold bitch that I am, was like, all dogs go to heaven? Like, I don't know what you're supposed to say. He's obviously so distraught, and it's just a very sad situation. All right, but what I say to him...
And no jokes, no shade here, man. We're thinking about you. And
yes,
sorry about your loss.
This is dedicated to Maine.
Yes, absolutely. Only our second ever dedicated episode.
Yes.
So, yes, we're doing this for Maine. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Well, the reason I'm telling you that is because Maine, because obviously that was super traumatic, and like he had to choose what he wanted done with the remains. And so I said to him, like, listen, when they're ready, just let me know and I'll go pick them up. I don't want you to be re-traumatized by having to go back into this, because it was an emergency care vet that he's never been to before. But all that's going to do is remind him of these 4 hours we spent in the vet office, like where it went from.
Just the parking lot would be a mess.
Yeah. So I was like, just let me know. And so he's like, okay. So he lets me know that that it's ready to be picked up. So I decide to go get this. So I go to the vet office, and I think because my demeanor, and this is obviously no disrespect, I know people like animals, but I'm just like, I don't form bonds with animals, and I don't really, that's why I was like, let me go pick it up. So I show up and I get there and I'm like, hi, I'm here to pick up Maine. And so the person at the front goes to the back. She shuffles around a little bit. I hear like murmurs. She comes back out. She's like,
no,
I'm so sorry. Are you sure you're in the right office? Like, we don't have an animal by the name of Maine. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like the artist formerly known as, like, it's the remains of Maine. Not Maine, actually. The rest of Maine.
The remains.
What's left of Maine. So she was like, oh, yes, of course. And so she goes and she gives me, and I remember because when he was bawling and we had to decide on the urn and do you want a paw print and clay and then an ink, and there's all these things they're giving us. And it was like,
upsell when you're in a traumatic state.
He's in for, like, at a certain point, I was like, you don't need this much stuff. But it was about $500.
Do you want the rocket that Elon Musk shot into space, but in the form of a doghouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really taking advantage.
We choose this tasteful urn, whatever. So the bag they give it to you is like a full-fledged, it looks like a great, like, gift bag. I mean, it's not. I wanted to check to make sure they gave him the right urn, and I can see, like, they put his collar, which they took off his dead body in there. Like, it's all dark, whatever. I take it and I put it in my trunk, and I think to myself.
Wait.
Yeah.
You put it in your trunk?
What was it?
Seatbelt in the front.
I don't know about that.
You have another passenger there? Come on.
Okay. The care of these remains gets worse from here.
Okay.
So I put it in the trunk, and I decide, okay, I'm going to treat myself, since the vet office was like kind of on the way, to the Lululemon outlet we have in Castle Rock. So I was like, I'm going to take myself to the outlet. I'm about 10 minutes into the 35-minute drive, so I should probably go to the outlet. Now I'm just fully, Maine and I are going shopping. So Maine's in the back. I go to Lululemon. I buy a couple things. I go to leave Lulu, okay? And the Lulu, like, it should be like roughly 35 minutes from my house. I go to put the directions in my navigation, and something that has never, ever happened in my entire life happens. And the navigation says 55 minutes, route change for tornado.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm like, huh? Well, that's curious. I still don't do anything. I'm just like, well, I'm done at the outlet. Like, I've got to start making my way home. I don't know.
Why not drive directly into a tornado?
Right, correct.
Okay.
Like a fucking storm chaser. So as I am driving.
No, that's a real storm chaser.
Yeah.
Like, you want to take it one-on-one, like you cornered it in a bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maine and I are going to the tornado. All right. As I am driving, I see an alert on my phone that comes up over my map, which I had not ever seen this before.
That's crazy.
I have seen, I'm coming to read it to you, because I have seen, there might be a little torn. Like,
right.
It's
like
not
legally, we have to tell you there might be one.
Maybe. This is what happens. I get this emergency alert that says tornado warning in this area, 3:30 p.m. Take shelter now in a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. If you are outdoors in a mobile home or a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris immediately. So I'm like, and the sky is turning black. So I'm just like, all right, it's probably nothing. But, like, given that I was concerned for hail damage, like, I was like, I should probably pull off. So I see on the right-hand side a big-ass IKEA. I don't know if you've passed the blue.
It's a
fucking cement building, right? So I think all IKEAs are, right? They're just, like, the most stable. But I knew they had a parking garage.
It's where humans will reorganize after Armageddon.
Yeah, well, Here we go. So I go into the IKEA, and I'm thinking, I leave Maine in the trunk because, I just thought I parked my car as best. It wasn't underground, but it was like I put it like in the middle of the first floor, like blocked by, like, I felt like it was in a decently secure area. However, if wind came down or debris, like, my car is going to get fucked. There's nothing I could do. There's no underground parking. All right. I walk into this IKEA, and I'm coming up the escalator. I walk inside, and I pretty immediately, as soon as I step foot in, there are sirens going off, and then they're on the loudspeaker. Leave your cart, leave everything, get to a stairwell immediately. And, like, thank God I didn't just chance it in my car, right? So I'm like, this is okay. This is like a little bit dramatic. But when they said leave
my
your cart, I
gosh.
watched people, they're in line to check out. They just hands up, running to a stairwell. And I'm thinking, and there's like, woo, 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 like, and I'm thinking, this seems like really extra. Like, are we sure there's a tornado? Like,
What's it looking like outside? Because they have
Black.
those big windows.
dude, black.
Okay.
Like, that's when I was like, fuck. So then
That's Corinne's weather report.
yeah. I was like, okay, actually, I'm in trouble now. So I say, because I see, I'm going to show you a picture in a second. We'll put this on our Instagram. I see, so all of the workers at IKEA are now also running to a stairwell. So I say to 3 workers that are ahead of me, because they're getting the stairwells open because they're emergency exit only, and only one person has a key, so they didn't want us locked in there. So you got to find the person with the key, so that because the door had to be closed to seal us in to the stairwell. Yes. So the workers ahead of me wearing the vests, they go, I said, hey, like, does this happen a lot? And they're like, this has never happened. And that's when I was like, I think this is a problem. And it also looks, when I show you this picture, like I'm in a foreign country, because you'll see me, I'm stranded in the stairwell with workers, and they have yellow vests on that say hedge, H-E-J. Which, Chris, will you look up for us? Is hedge
It's hello
help?
and no. Why would it say help? They're working there. They're there to help you. They're not asking you, hey, where Lynn's at? No, hedge. I believe that's hello in. Well, they're a Swiss company.
Hello.
All right,
Yes.
we have confirmation.
In Swedish.
See? We got
Yes.
Oz over here.
Why would they have help on the back of their jackets? What do you think? They're constantly in a state of panic. Why would they have help?
I don't know. And there's an exclamation point. It just looks like I'm in a foreign country in this picture. Because
People also say hello with great enthusiasm.
hedge. That's how we're opening the show from now on.
Next week.
Hedge swimmers.
Yes, we will see a dramatic drop off. Okay, so you're in the
now
stairwell.
I'm in the stairwell. Okay, I'm still in my mind like, it's probably, people are just overreacting. Like I had the same problem. This is not to my credit. During 9/11, I was in New York City. And because I've lived through so many hurricanes, like I knew a plane hit the World Trade Center, but I still tried to go to the gym. And then I was pissed that the gym was closed. And then I realized like what was going on. But you know me, I don't really watch the news. I was like, I don't know, shit happens. Why does a New York sports club 60 blocks up have to be closed?
Yes, that's why people call you Corinne Just One Tower Kaplan. Because it takes 2 for you to be like, I need to rest today. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I am sitting in the stairwell, and I'm asking people in the stairwell, like, does anyone, I can't really get service in here. Like, does anyone know, like, how long? Because the alert was like, people were trying to, like, give each other information. All of a sudden, I start hearing, like, a bomb went off. A full tornado hits this IKEA.
Shut your mouth.
Bang, 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 bang. And it's getting louder and louder and louder. And I had never been inside a tornado before. This is what happens in a tornado. It's like this, it starts out really loud, and then it crescendoed for a solid, like, 20 minutes. I mean, it didn't move that quickly. And there was tons of fucking hail. And all I keep thinking is, like a plane that went down carrying dead soldiers. Like, I am not going to be able to bring Maine home. Like, I was sure that my car was totaled. Just given the
hearing this.
Like, there's no way. My car wasn't. Again, it was a first floor. There's, it's not covered parking. Like, I mean, it's covered, but it's not. It's still.
What are the people around you doing? Are they
freaking
screaming?
out.
Are they people praying?
People are. The person directly next to me, who's actually kind of a bitch. She called her mom. And she was like, her mom had to be 80. And I was like, hey, I don't have good service. Could you ask your mom where the tornado's going? Because I'm like, hey, storm chaser Kaplan, I want to go back to Denver, but I don't want to accidentally drive into the path of the storm.
And just follow it into Denver like a very aggressive opening act.
Hey guys, where's it going?
Okay.
I don't want to go the same place. So I'm like asking everybody in this fucking stairwell, and nobody cares about my well-being. No one's trying to help me. People are calling their loved ones. Like, this is not. So that it ends. They wait, it's 30 minutes solid, and then another probably 10 just to make sure before we unlock the stairwell, because everybody inside this entire store is in the stairwell. It's like a prime time for somebody to come, like, lift wherever they wanted from an IKEA. I mean, there was nobody working inside the IKEA.
That was my first thought when you told me this.
Yeah.
I was like, leave your carts or don't.
See, you don't have to be a storm chaser. You got to be a storm chaser chasing the...
That chases box stores.
Yeah.
Yeah, big box stores.
They step away from the
tornado headed towards Best Buy. I'm out. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's genius. So, anyways, I go back to I honestly thought, because there was so much debris, but my car was fine and Maine was fine. So
Maine was fine.
Maine and I lived through a tornado together.
Well,
I don't know if lived through is right, verbiage.
You experienced it in
did.
different, because I do believe that Maine is somewhere swirling in the cosmos.
Yes.
I do think that there is something about energies. I'm not going to get into that, but I don't know. I heard somebody describe it once. He said, when you pull the cable out of the back of the TV, the signal's still going there. It's just not.
Yes.
So, like, I don't know.
Totally.
I don't know if I'm an atheist or agnostic, but, like, I just think that there's something with that. So maybe he was with you.
I believe in the afterlife. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's, I mean, he didn't really like me very much. So I feel like he was over there like,
Yeah. He was pointing at the tornado over there.
Yeah.
She's in the west there.
She's moved to the IKEA
Have
for
at
the
her.
Lululemon outlet. Go
Yeah.
get it. So, all right. So I tell all of you this because, first of all, it's an interesting story. But I had this beautiful packaging that just looks very much like a gift sitting on the island in my kitchen. Because I was waiting to give it to Jay, who ended up getting COVID, and I was like, you got to test negative for days before I'm going, So, and I didn't want to leave it on his front doorstep because it was raining. Like, we had rain for several days because, we also had tornadoes. All right, fine. So now let's get to, my parents are coming to town. And the reason my parents are coming is, if you listen to our last Patreon, it might be our first Patreon. I invited my mom for Mother's Day. Somehow that morphed into her using my points on Southwest to buy her and my father both round trip tickets. And Emma, as my
It
father,
was your forced gift.
Yeah. And as my father says, MINO, money is no object. She wouldn't come here for months because she's like, there are like 30,000 points total. I see points deducted from my account. She had no problem taking 62,000 points out of my account. So anyway.
Well, she gave birth to you. Would you have those points if you were never born?
No.
I rest my case for your mom.
Yes. Okay. So I know my mom's coming. I'm excited for her to come with my father as well, obviously. And so they tell me when they're landing. I tell them, okay, because of your landing, because God forbid anyone, I don't know, but do you pick people up from the airport? Because I do not.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. That's an old school black man. And I got a story about that. But please, yes.
So I don't, but in this case, I can't. It's too difficult for me to assume they can manage figuring out Uber. And I just was like, the train, which I tell everyone, just take the train. It's like, I'll pick you up at Union Station. That's easy. All right. On this episode of
You make your guests.
Yeah. Always.
Land at the airport.
Yes.
Go get on the mini train that's inside the airport.
Take your luggage.
Get your luggage and then go find a worse train to get on and then take that all the way into Denver. And then you pick them up at the subway station.
Yes.
You step over the homeless guy playing the saxophone, and there I am.
And the escalator's never working, so you usually have to carry your luggage up once you get to Union Station. Yeah. So that's what I do. I didn't do that with my parents. And here's where that comes to bite me in the ass. So I am like, okay, you tell me when the plane has landed. It'll take me about 45 because it's rush hour, because God forbid anyone not land during rush hour. And then I'll get there right around, you got to get your bags. So I get to the cell phone parking lot. I'm almost at the gate, and I'm like, hey, like, do you have your bags? And my mom's like, no. So I was like, okay, I'll go to the cell phone parking lot. And I was like, what's going on? And she's like, I said, like, I internalized that as the bags are taking a long time. What that really meant was everyone's bags but my parents came out.
Oh.
And this will send my parents into the Jewish white rage. This is the ultimate worst thing that could ever happen. Now, because they're so concerned about this, my parents, who have no clue how to use technology, had my brother, when he flew in last, put Apple tags on their shit. So
smart.
Yeah, something I don't even do. So my mom's like,
something I should have done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as we once
Where's
discussed,
my sauna?
Yes, as we once discussed with that. Okay, so you located, with the Uber and the lost phone, you located your phone. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. So my parents.
That's a good point.
So my parents are like, my mom's like, so everyone got their bags but us, but we have located on the Apple tag. They're at the airport. They're just left on the tarmac.
Oh.
So don't ask me how. The luck that we have that my parents are the only people whose luggage just like fell off the cart. They're just in the middle of the runway. Like they're just outside. We know they're outside on the tarmac. So my mother is now flashing this. She's showing the iTag. She's talking to everybody. And they're like, yes, ma'am, we understand. But we don't have enough staff to go get that right now. And my mom's spinning out in her mind because she has hard luggage. However, the zipper is a material, right, that goes around it.
Yes.
She is now a stage 10 panic that everything inside is going to get wet. Stuff that is new or closed, the dye is going to run on everything else. Everything in the luggage is going to be destroyed. That is like what she's preparing for. And I'm like, but that's why you have hard luggage. Because it was pouring rain outside.
Yeah, unless it's run over by a plane like a squirrel would be. I think it'll be fine.
I thought so too. She did not. All right. I am now in this fucking parking lot for 2 hours waiting in the cell phone lot because they will not leave. They were like, we're not leaving without our luggage. I'm like, but here's the thing. They already told them. They offered, we'll have it delivered. Just go. And I'm like, please, for the love of God, like, I don't want to be in the cell phone parking lot anymore. Just, it's fine. You'll get it. And they were like, my father's like, absolutely not. It's at the airport. I'm going to harass everyone until we get it. Well,
squeaky wheel.
And guess what? They did get it. I mean, it took a long time. They get it. So my mom calls me. Good news, we got it. I said, great. I'm leaving this off. And she goes, don't leave so fast. And I said, what else could you possibly? How much more time? I mean, what are you doing? And she goes, well, Daddy and I are going to broker a deal because our luggage was wet. And I was like, I just feel like let's just let this go, man. Let's just
broker a deal. Were they going to merge with United? What does that mean?
She waited in line until she spoke with the manager and got a $200 voucher for each of them for the inconvenience and for the inside of the luggage getting wet by the zipper.
And you should have got your daughter's points back.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. So now this is the beginning of this glorious weekend. We go back to my house, and from the Patreon, if you didn't listen, I'm not going to spoil it. You got to listen. But I got my mother a ridiculously stupid gift while I was high on Ambien, and I wanted to give that to her, but that wasn't getting presented. I mean, she actually loved it, but it's a bizarre gift. Okay, it's actually you would do that for if I wanted to get Jay something.
Yes,
and Maine. It's meant for dead loved ones, not alive ones,
we talked about that.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Yes, I had that, but that wasn't getting gifted to her until Mother's Day, and they came in on Thursday. So they walk into my home, and they're all excited. They've only visited me once before, and so they're excited. They come in, and then my parents are like, you shouldn't have. And I was like, I thought they were talking about, like, I bought a bunch of alcohol. They thought the dead dog's urn, like that gift wrapping was a gift for them, like welcome to Denver. So I see my father start to go in, and I was like, that is a dog's remains. That is not a gift. I apologize. I could see where that was confusing. There was actually not a gift waiting.
Some may find it confusing why it's on the counter. That might be confusing to some people.
Like, it was on the counter for a while. Yeah.
You know what your house is, Corinne?
Maine was doing everything with me for a while.
It's a place with many places.
I ate with Maine.
You can store it anywhere. What are you doing?
4 stories.
Why there?
I don't know.
I would think about that every time I ate on the, like, you can't.
I had eaten on the counter multiple times across from Maine. Yeah.
Well, I will say this. Maine had, in New Orleans, they do something called a circle line when you pass away. And they got the horns and everything going down the street. I honestly feel like you gave that to Maine. He went out. Well, he didn't go out like, oh, we're going to the ocean to stare at it. No, he went out. There was a natural disaster. There was luggage refunds. Yeah. There was a near Uber Eats mix up with your dad. Yeah. What a...
So as this weekend goes on, I'll just give you a couple of highlights because my parents were. I want actually because I know you're going to get to your family story.
I am so immersed in this. We'll get to my family too.
So my parents are ridiculously in love, and it's very annoying to me. And I feel like I'm such an ungrateful asshole because everyone else is like, my parents fought. I wish they wouldn't fight. I have the opposite problem. Okay, I take my mother and father to Red Rocks, which I don't know why they've never heard of. If you haven't heard of it, Google it. You should know what Red Rocks is.
Doesn't your mom stand Neil Diamond?
Yes.
He never did Red Rocks?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Keep going.
You know what? I'm going to go with no, he didn't, because if he did, she would have gone.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I'm sorry, I just want to throw this in. My mother also, for a long time, started following fake Neil Diamond acts. And then my parents found one in Missouri, and my father manages him. So it's not like this is not small time Neil Diamond fanage.
That sentence that you just gave is usually said by somebody that's having a psych eval on a Friday night at the county jail.
Yes.
But only you, it's 100% true.
His name's Rob, and my father manages him. Yes.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neil Diamond did Red Rocks on August 29th, 1976.
Oh, shit.
A year before my birthday, Neil Diamond rocked Red Rocks.
Yeah.
And I wonder if your mom went there.
She didn't.
She did not? Okay.
But that's in 76, like... You know, she was. I don't think they had the money to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be also Neil Diamond's band like that. I mean, they're doing the same thing. They got in luggage. Okay. Wow.
So.
Wow.
So we're doing Red Rocks, and I basically, unfortunately, the top of Red Rocks, like you couldn't enter from the top, you had to enter from the bottom, which I would have liked to have avoided. Although I usually take people, that's part of my tour. Take them, you see the stage.
Your tour?
You could stand here where Neil
Hugh
stood.
Hefner? How you like my place? I did some things. I got the Wu-Tang Clan to come play,
Yeah, this is okay. So I get there, and my mother immediately starts in with this bullshit. I want you guys to know, I'll put up a picture of my mother. My mother is a smaller size than me. She's very fit. According to them, they brag about playing pickleball 5 hours a day. The second we get there, she's like, I'm not doing any of these stairs. I don't like stairs. And I was like, this is news to me. I mean, we didn't grow up in a one-story house. I'm like, I get nobody likes stairs. Stairs are kind of a bitch, but like, you're able-bodied.
Slinkies.
And she goes, I don't want to go up. And I said, but the museum is at the top. Well, I can see everything from here. I said, but the whole museum is at the top.
That's how your mom does museums. I drove by the Met, okay?
Yeah.
I flew over the Louvre. What do you want from me?
So my father then does this, which, by the way, while we're talking, no joke, a 90-year-old Asian woman with a cane is ambling up the stairs that my mother's refusing to. I mean, it's a huge tourist attraction to go to Red Rocks. Everybody finds the energy to get up the fucking stairs.
Except your mom. So
my father was like, she doesn't like stairs. And I said, I don't know that. And that's usually said by someone who has like a fucking hip replacement or there's nothing wrong with her.
By the way, he said that like, she doesn't like shellfish. Like stairs are everywhere.
Yes.
Stairs are everywhere. I don't know anywhere where stairs aren't where there's a second floor.
I
think
Florida,
it's illegal.
There's probably more ramps, but she doesn't like any uphill. So my father proceeds to do this. Okay, you're gonna have to explain to the audience because I don't know how you would describe this, but he gets behind her and then he's supportive pushing her up each stair, and he's like, "Is this helping?" And she's like, "This is a little bit better." And I put a fucking stop to that real quick. I was like,
super embarrassing.
It's so, how people say when you're a kid, you're embarrassed of your parents, but like you grow out of that. I haven't grown out of it. It's so embarrassing all the time. But I think if my father could have, he would have just carried her up like
an officer and a gentleman? Yes. See, I look at it a different way. I think you're looking like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. My dad is assaulting my mom up the stairs. And what other people might have seen is like, look, that woman's learning to walk again and her husband's supporting her. It's a glasses half full at Red Rocks. Well, people will be like, look at her. She's doing it.
Unfortunately.
They clap it when she got to the top.
And so
we reached our fundraiser goal. Thank you.
Oh, I asked her, I wanted to take we reached our fundraiser goal. It's good. I asked her, I wanted to take a picture of her in the middle, like of her and my father. And so I go, okay, you know what? Actually, I want you better centered. Can you go down, 2 stairs? I'm not going, no. I had to walk up those. I'm not going down 2 stairs. I asked her to go 2. No, she won't go down. All right. So this goes on, and then I had already pre-bought us tickets to Meow Wolf, which is like an immersive art exhibit here. It is 4 stories, okay? It is. So now I'm with my mother in the car. I'm like,
wait, tell everybody what Meow Wolf is.
An immersive art experience. That's
okay,
the only way
but like if they
describe
can't picture it, like it's a huge. It's like a place where like a convention center. Almost like maybe
it's like the IKEA building, honestly.
Right, it's a big
building.
IKEA with so your kids can practice doing mushrooms. That's really what it is. There's just like a weird mushroom stuff in there, right?
It's all for mushrooms. Yeah,
it's all like so your kid's not a lightweight.
Yeah, and I just want to say they're legal here. I'm not saying either Al or I do them, but I'm just saying it's a weird thing. People here, you see them all taking it in line for Meow Wolf. It's just a regular,
really.
Yeah. I've been to Meow Wolf 5 times. It's all on my tour. It's on my itinerary.
See, I was with my kids, and all I was focused on was the ticket price. I was like, oh, so it's $50 a head, even for the 6-year-old at the time? Word, what's going on in here? Is there a happy ending, Meow Wolf? Like, what is the extra money? Like, what are you doing? $50, dog. Come on, bro.
Well, so first of all, if you put your zip code in, Denver residents get $10 off. So it should have only been, it's $55 on Saturday. It's only $45 if you put your zip code in. And it says you have to show identification. They never ask. So I put it in for my mom, dad, and I just got the, anyways. All right. So we're inside Meow Wolf. Well, on the way to Meow Wolf, I'm doing this the whole way. Mom, should I get a wheelchair for you? You think you'll be able to amble up? Because there are stairs at Meow Wolf. Like, I'm so mean and I'm so mad. And my parents are they are madly in love. I will give you this part of the story. So my father was going home on Sunday because God forbid he missed a day of work. But my parents do not separate from each other. So it's a big deal. Like I've only seen it a handful of times in my life. So my father, when we're going to load up in the car, because we're going to take him and then we're going to go to this Mother's Day brunch at Bigsby's Folly, my favorite winery, load up into the car. He goes, Dale, sit in the back with me. And I was like, abso-fucking-lutely not.
Why?
Absolutely
What are you
not.
thinking?
I'm not your fucking Uber driver. I was not driving Miss Daisy. So he wanted her to sit in the back because they're going to be separated for 24 hours, and he wanted to like hold her hand and like he wanted to.
I love this.
I was like, get the fuck in the front, Mom. So she gets in the front seat and he's massaging her shoulders from behind, and he goes, I'm really going to miss you. Now, when he said this, I wasn't paying attention to the massage that was going on. So I go, oh, Dad, I'll miss you too. And then I realized, he didn't say that shit to me.
Oh,
it was to my mother.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
Yeah.
You know, it's you could go to Amazon, Audible books, go to the real bookstore and find a ton of books on why codependent relationships are bad and you need to break away and be your own thing. Look at your parents' relationship. Well, they are completely functionally dysfunctional. And that's what real love looks like. It's like, I need to sit, but he still looks at your mom the way he saw her the first night. That is what everybody wants on this planet.
I asked him, like, we had gone hiking and it was just him and I asked, I said, is there anything you would tell your younger self? You know, it's something that one of the podcasts I listen to, they always add, and he goes, I would always marry your mother. I would marry her. And I said, that's not at all what I asked. Like, he's like, I would not take that back for anything. I was like, no, he's just like any platform to glorify. He just loves my mother so much. So anyways, that's very annoying.
That's beautiful.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
I think that's where my problems are, because I think the bar was set way too high.
It really was. So your dad is one in a million. Like, your dad's one of those guys that, because when guys go out, let's say 4 guys, 2 are married, 2 aren't. Of the 2 guys that are married, one's going to be trying to act more single, and one is going to be, and especially everybody can talk whatever they talk, but like when girls come around or whatever, other women that are not their wife, there are some guys that are like, hey, what's up? And some guys that like even kind of they scoot back so they don't even want to be in a picture where it might be misconstrued. So your dad is the smaller percentage of like actually really faithful guys, because there's faithful guys that like skate the line a little bit, and then there's faithful guys like, don't even mention that in my presence.
Yeah.
Get these women, like, I'm waiting for my wife. Like, your dad, that's big goals. And I think that's why people are super obsessed with celebrity breakups and stuff, because they look and they're like, this 6'1" Brazilian model got cheated on by this. Like, what chance do I have?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's dudes like your dad's, like, everybody's looking for that.
He earns it every day. Like, he treats my mom like a queen every day.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So one last story. It's just to round us out on the family stuff from my end, at least. I took my mother to Bigsy's Folly, where I had her face put on a bottle of champagne.
Yes.
And I'll put this picture up on our Instagram. That was great.
That's awesome.
Yes, it was. But now here's the just random. So they have a buffet for Mother's Day, and it's very highfalutin. Like, there's smoked salmon, and there's like, it's a whole brunch situation. And I told my mother, you know, my parents are like crazy about diet. My father was like, why don't you have a scale in the guest room? I was like, because most people when they travel don't need to weigh themselves. And he's like, well, then can you put your scale from your room into my, he doesn't not weigh himself every day. Like, this is just a thing. My parents are nuts. So that's fun. So I start warning my mother weeks in advance. I was like, I paid a lot for these tickets. We're going to eat at this buffet, okay? We're going to eat at the buffet.
We're not going to pick.
We're not going to ask if they could specially make egg whites. We're just going to eat the shit at the buffet. So I decide I'm going to do this too, which Joyce, my best friend, and I used to always, we called it Fat Girl Sundays. The calories don't count on Sunday. So this was kind of a Fat Girl Sunday.
And that's Fat Girl PHAT. That way no one can come after us.
Yeah, but you all know
like
what I meant.
Old school hip hop from the late 90s.
Yeah. Baby fat. So in doing so, I tell her, I was like, I'm sort of like bullying her into trying a Belgian waffle, which I don't really care for them, but I just wanted to make her eat it. So I was like, you got to do the Belgian waffle. And then there's a whole toppings bar. Now in the toppings bar, there's little signs, and there's one sign that says white chocolate. Okay. This is important. I see a bowl that I think is assigned to that sign that looks like sort of like whipped white chocolate. And I was like, oh, mom, there's white chocolate. There's white chocolate. And so I now dump.
No one's ever said that.
I dump.
Thank God they have the worst chocolate.
I was like, I didn't even know you could make like chocolate like this. Like, this was so cool. I'd never seen anything like it. Okay, and there's a reason for that. So we sit down. I start, like, I'm not going to eat the Belgian waffle because I just don't really care about the waffle. But the idea that there was like Nutella but white chocolate. I begin spoon spoonfuls of it and I go, it's not that good. And so I go in by my third spoonful. I was like, I think I have to add Splenda to it. And my mom's like, she tries and she goes, yeah, it's not very good. It turns out it was butter. And the white chocolate chips, like chocolate chips, were a bowl associated with that sign. Behind it was the whipped butter. And so I was eating, and you know how calorie conscious I am, and my mother. And my mom's like, you idiot, why did I listen to you?
Find a bathroom and throw up.
Why did it take you 3 spoonfuls to figure the fuck out that this is clearly not chocolate? I was like, I haven't had real butter in 10 years. I don't know what butter tastes like, and nobody eats it by the spoonful.
That's fair. That's the most honest thing that's ever been said on this podcast. You're right. No one eats butter. I love you so much.
Spoonfuls, and I was so upset. I didn't eat anything the rest of the buffet. I was like,
after you gave your parents the riot act about they better eat.
I wasted all my calories on fucking butter.
They should have stood over you and like finished the butter. You after that preamble you gave us. Go ahead, tough guy. Oh my God. Do you understand the mental fortitude that you have to have where you're one of probably 11 people on the planet that just had a spoonful of butter.
Yeah.
Because it's only like 11 people, period. Yeah. Maybe a chef that had an accident. And your taste buds tell your brain that's not even in the that's not even on the hemisphere in the world of chocolate that I need to be in. And you go,
this is the worst chocolate I've ever had.
Let me go on back in because I don't like this back and forth in my brain. You've taken the second scoop of butter. Now we're talking about 2-3 people on the planet, 8 billion. And you've had it again, and it's still just as distasteful.
It doesn't taste like anything.
It is not morphed into white chocolate yet. And this is where Corinne says, hold my beer.
Between 2 and 3, I said, maybe I should add Splenda.
And I do like, first of all, that's the best advertisement for you to meet a dude. You could be butter and she's not going to throw you away. She's just going to find some Splenda.
Yeah.
So all you guys out there, if you find a less than ideal partner, find your Splenda. That's going to be our book.
Yeah.
Find your Splenda.
Yeah.
Sorry, your partner sucks.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well,
you just made it worse because I'm already obsessed with your family. So if you would say, my parents, they came in, it was a cool weekend, I'd be like, the obsession would die a little bit.
Everything would.
It's like when you have like a mysterious person that you follow, like a celebrity or some kind of weirdo, and then they start doing IG Live and they start talking about their kids, or like a dog goes by and you're like, oh, you're not mysterious. You live in the suburbs. Like, your parents don't disappoint like that. Your parents are super interesting because there's certain people that go through this life and they read hacks on how to do things more efficiently. They are efficient. They're efficient at their job. They pick the right partner and they live a great life. And I feel like those people long for moments in their life where something. That's why it's the skydive all the time. So it's because they have to feel. Your parents have those moments on a beat to beat basis, like every 45 minutes to an hour, there is a confrontation at the airport with the baggage claim. There is a confrontation with your daughter. There is no scale, and we need to discuss that. I almost ate a dog on the counter. And the thing is,
all of these things.
Your parents have not thought about any of this since they got back home. They're just like completely normal.
This is how,
it's just like, this is how we roll.
This
they don't think this is funny.
No.
They'll never tell this as guess what Corinne did. She won't even know, because it's almost like it's unfair how much your parents have been gifted in terms of just hilarity, and then you're hilarious, but they don't even see it because they are equally interesting. So you guys, like when Fire and Ice on X-Men shoot each other, you guys balance each other. They don't even notice that their daughter is a hilarious human that had dog remains on the counter.
No, they don't. It's funny. You said my parents are gifted. You also asked if my father was packing, which I will still not be answering. But that does bring me to your favorite game.
Ooh, is it time for some Banger By?
It sure is.
I'm so
let me get to my Banger By album because this is going to come into play. All right. First up, and these are going to be short. They're just really some bad prompts that I saw that I collected. So I have a few of them.
And we need to tell our new listeners, what is bang or buy?
Okay, great. I should do that. The idea is I decide whether this person is worthy of banging or if I'm just going to say bye. So the game is bang or buy. Sometimes it's I've already been on a date with this guy. He did something wrong or I did something wrong. And, just kind of like what are we doing with these? So this person in the prompt for Hinge, it says, I'm convinced that, right? That's the part you have to fill out. Read what he wrote.
Okay. He says, I'm convinced that I am medium dick energy.
So he filled in, I am medium dick energy. And I was like, okay, that's a weird advertisement to give. And then I saw this one. First of all, I don't think in your prompts you should be talking about your penis size. It's just
okay, Corinne, I'm glad you said that because for the first time ever on the podcast, I'll admit, I was thinking what you just said, but I was like, am I being an old man about that? But there's a time and a place, dude.
Yes.
Like, let's ease into it. If you're the first, 4 words out of your mouth, one of 25% of them is dick.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
It shouldn't be
like
anywhere
you're trying
in your
to
prompt.
talk to a potential partner here. Like, come on.
Yeah. So the other one that I thought was ridiculous, he wrote in his bio, small eggplant emoji, big heart.
Oh.
So he's calling himself a micropenis in the description.
Yes. And what he's doing is he's doing triage and damage control early. So it's like when your parents come home and their pool table's split in half down the middle and you had to throw their mattress out and you can't tell them why. You before people go in the house, you have to turn and say, okay, before we go in, and you lay it out. That's what that was. That was we don't have a pool table anymore. But if you still want to go in the house, there's a lot of stuff that isn't broke.
You're going to say the 4 words, is it in yet? Way more than you want to.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, I thought that was really odd and I had not seen that. And I saw 2 back to back, one on Bumble, one on Hinge, talking about dick size, which is not a thing.
Wait, can I ask a question? And this is interestingly not a gender specific question. I'm just very curious for people that are interested in locating penis. If if some people say, okay, I'm a size queen, I like a larger man. Okay, are there also people in which that ad would appeal to them because they're saying I prefer a smaller car. I want a smart car. I want a car that you could park on the sidewalk and not get a ticket.
Okay. I was talking to my friend the other day about because I sent her these profiles and she was like, yeah, I dated one of those in college. I was like, so did I.
One of those?
Yeah. Well, a guy that was like 6'4" with like an infant's penis. And so she had one of those too. And we were exchanging stories. And she goes, yeah, it was just, it's all anal. And I was like,
how many months are we talking? I'm just kidding.
I'm saving my ass for marriage, but she was like, it's got to be anal. That's the only. So I think maybe somebody who really likes anal might be into the, for a hetero couple. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I guess so. And please write in because that's just something I'm curious about. I mean, there have to be.
Well, actually, I don't know why I said hetero. Obviously, it doesn't matter.
No, that's what I said. It's not gender specific at all.
Yeah, she was just like, it was useless to have sex with him, so we took it to the back door.
Wow. And that's also a tough conversation too, where it's just like you have to tell somebody that they're not fired, but they're moving desks.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's
a really good analogy.
Yeah, that's a rough one. But look, hey, it is what it is, and I honestly feel like having a smaller unit is going to attract a person that is looking for that.
Yeah.
And so you're going to eliminate a lot of potential mates, possibly, I don't know. But you may also dip into a smaller pool, no pun intended, of people that are looking for that.
Yeah.
So there it is. So shout out.
I have one last.
Wait, so did we decide bang or buy on that one? You're saying buy?
I'm saying buy on all mentions of a penis in a description. And we're going to do,
I
actually
think so
today,
too.
a Bumble. We're going to look at Yeah, you're saying bye, right?
Yeah, maybe it's just I just got back from Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm feeling very regal and southernly gentlemanly. So we were like, hey, no,
none of this.
none of the pee-pee talk. One sentence in, bro. Come on, man.
So I have 2 more to share. One is I've been holding on to this forever. First of all, this guy's first name is Trader, like Trader Joe's. And he opens with, yes, I'm really 6'5". Doesn't know how to use the
he's
proper
already
quotation
yelling
marks.
at us. Okay.
So, and then he says, blessed by God to earn north of 300K. This is his opening line, Chris's face.
Are we going to get to the picture, I'm assuming? Yeah, I saw it when you flashed the phone the first
brother.
time. So you were, he's a black dude? I didn't even notice. Yeah. Do you know why I didn't notice? Because he's sitting in a blue Lamborghini and he's looking, I just snatched Corinne's phone. Okay. It's one of those photos that I hate just because
I can't see anything.
Yeah,
and that's
first of all, you can't
photo.
see anything. It's his lead photo, and he's sitting like you would on a stoop in Brooklyn, like waiting. It's the summertime in '97, like he's sitting like that. Only he's in the driver's seat of a blue Lamborghini, but it's not blue like grown man blue. It's blue like when they're trying to reboot Barbie, like that kind of weird blue that you never see in real life.
Yeah.
And then he's looking down like he's being reflective, and he's dressed really nicely. He's like looking like, is my left driver's side tire low? Like, what is he looking at?
Okay, here's my favorite question to ask. Who took the photo? Why are you acting like it was a surprise? Like you just got caught trying to exit your Lambo. You asked somebody to take this photo.
No, he didn't.
You don't think so?
You know what he did?
What? Don't tell me. He did not set up his shot.
Yes, he did. Because he's out in the mountains, boo. He's in the mountains. You're not going to, hey, cuz. Come roll with me in my Lambo and come take some glamour shots of me. That's so embarrassing. He had to do that with a tripod, and that's a bunch of countdowns.
This is so cringe to me. The rest of his profile is worse, if you can believe it. So now he's already said, "Yeah, I'm really 6'5", blessed by God to earn north of 300K. No, I'm not too good to be true." No one thought that.
That was the first time I saw Chris wince. That's how douchey that was. Like, all right, dude.
He says, yes, I'm very picky. My fragrance of choice is Tom Ford Tuscan leather, not Dior Sauvage. I don't know if I said that right.
That you did. And also, first of all, stop like starting every sentence with an answer to a question that we didn't ask.
Nobody asked.
Yes, Corinne, I am 6'5". No, I do not take public transportation. Yes, I do. All right, bro.
Right.
Cool.
Calm down.
Cool.
Yeah, totally.
By the way, that's the only way I'm going to talk for the rest of the podcast. Yes, I'm ready to continue.
So banger by.
Okay, so that's
thank
a
you,
good.
Chris.
And Chris, yes, and Chris, you just saw what I've seen on TV for almost 5 years now. It's when you look over and Chris will, if for anybody listening, Chris will just do his arms like a genie, and you feel so bad because sometimes you don't know what you did wrong, but it ain't great. If he's doing that, he's like, so yes, he wants us to pay it off. So would you bang or buy?
So that's a hard buy from me. It's actually, I hate him so much that I would go on the date just to be like, I want you to know how I feel about the things you said in your profile.
Yeah. Yes, I was annoyed by your profile.
North of 300K.
No, I was not turned on.
No,
God, I hate
also, 300K, it's not that much money. If you're going to say, like, you're acting like north of $1 million a year or like 300K.
It got to be 7 figures for it to be north.
Yeah, dude. Like,
you can't throw around. I make north of $18 an hour.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Also, so you make 301K. Like, north of is also a weird way to say that.
Okay, so a couple questions on the banger buy here, and I wonder what our audience is thinking too. But it kind of goes back to what I was saying last week. What do people want? Because do you want to come out hat in hand, humble, like Oliver Twist, like, oh, I'm sorry, governor, I just want to go on a date with you? Or do you want a guy to be like, hey, we're going out Friday night. I got a dope Lamborghini. You're welcome. I make money. Deal with it. Do you want that, or do you kind of want meekish? But probably less douchey.
I liked the South Korean that picked me up, and like I didn't know where the seats were. I didn't ask. It ended up being like ridiculous, like 10th row, right, for the Nuggets game. And he also picked me up in like a dope.
Oh, I thought you meant in the car. You said he picked me up and I didn't know where the seats were. You jumped right to the basketball game. I was like, what kind of dope whip did this dude have?
I sat in the back of his pickup truck. No, but like he didn't give me any indication he had any, and and he's got a Rolex on. He's driving like a really nice new Beamer truck. Like, oh, that's how you get me. Like you got me in the You got me in the vehicle, like the
Yeah.
rape van, you know. You picked me up at my home address. And I got lucky. It wasn't a Honda Civic hatchback from 98. Like, that was a really pleasant surprise. But what you don't do is, like, have your main profile picture basically just your Lamborghini.
And that's the weird thing.
And
It's like, it could have been a cooler picture if he was leaning against it. But honestly, the way he is obscuring from pretty much, and you guys have to picture what I'm saying. It's like he's sitting.
Well,
if you're
you
sitting
don't,
in a
'cause I'll put
chair,
it on the Instagram.
yes. If you like you're sitting in a chair at the DMV where you're kind of leaned over, like okay, how long is this going to be? But then there's a car door in front of you, so you really only see the top of his head and boots. But he's looking to the ground reflectively, like
Yeah. Again, there's also ways like, look, I zoom in on every watch I ever see in a picture. I zoom in on the background of your bathroom. Like, I would like to see, like, I try and look for clues in pictures. Like, there was an artful way where you could have taken a picture inside the Lambo, even if it was a selfie, and like by the headrest, your head could have blocked only half the symbol, but you know how they have the little Lambo symbol on the head. You know, there's a way classier way to do this than take your electric blue Lambo out to a mountain and set up a fucking tripod. Like, that's all gross.
oh no, Corinne.
I hate all of it. All right. What, you got something?
Yes. And producer Chris, this is something we're going to deal with. I know we're coming close to time. We're going to pay off the Bumble profile, but you just unlocked a story I haven't thought about in like 15 years. I will get through it quickly.
Oh, no, we got time.
I am living in South Florida at the time. This is probably 2009. I'm with my obviously now ex-girlfriend. She's a doctor, remarried now. She's real cool. And she's one of those women that you don't realize until you get older. Because when you're immature, like I was living in Miami, you just think like, oh, my girlfriend's like, she's like
So square.
not fun. And
Yeah.
like and I
She's
realized
trying to become a doctor.
now she was hilarious. She just had a really dry sense of humor. When I became a comic and my humor evolved, I was like, oh, she was hilarious. She was just dry. And, Miami, one thing about living down there is probably like living in Hawaii. Your friends come all the time pretending like they're coming to see you, but they really
come to rage.
stay. Yeah. And so she goes, yeah, this happened. I don't care about saying this. And so she goes, my homegirl, who I had met one time before, she was like, she's coming to visit me. And she's being flown down by this guy that she's dating. This guy, I'll never forget this. This is, I don't know, almost 15 years ago. He told her, don't pack a bag. We'll go shopping when we land. So I was like, oh, he's trying to ball out like that.
Yeah, I've had that.
Yeah, he's doing that. And so here's the kicker, though. She told me before I had ever thought I would meet these people, because, your girl talks about her friends and their relationships. They had not slept together. And I remember her telling me that he was kind of like, hey, we're sleeping in the same bed. I'm funding your lifestyle, but I'm holding down the responsibilities of a partner. What's up? And obviously she does what she wants, but she wasn't leaving and she wasn't being intimate with him at all. So they come down to Miami, and this is where the electric blue comes in. This is why that unlocked this memory. So I'm telling my ex, I'm just like, yo, this is going to be like, he's going to expect something in Miami. We were staying on Miami Beach Boulevard. We met them in one of those rip-off restaurants that are on the strip where they're like, that steak's $89. And you're like, get out of my face. I live here. And so we meet them and we have, the drinks come. I'm still drinking out back then. So I get my probably, double Kettle Rocks, a couple limes. And he orders an electric lemonade.
Nope. Mm-mm.
And this is why you unlock this. And so I just had never seen like a drink this color, and it was they definitely had that blue curacao in it.
Yeah.
And so he and his girl that he flew down proceed to get drunk at the table, as you do in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, this is 8 o'clock dinner reservations. So like this isn't Rage Miami.
Yeah.
This is like somebody with a stroller just went by. Like this is still light out. The nightlife's gonna start, but Miami nightlife starts at like 11:30. So these two proceed to get hammered at the table on the ocean front and immediately start arguing about like the fact that they haven't slept together. He brings it up. And he's like a mild-mannered, kind of the kind of guy that would be like an engineer, a little doughy, like 5'8", but like a good enough guy, good guy, be a good husband, And they get into a screaming match at dinner.
That's not how you get someone to sleep with you.
He gets up from the table, leaves the restaurant. You don't even just take the steps down and you're on Ocean Drive and you can just he walks down the street to Ocean Drive, like, and we're calling his name. He leaves. We're wrapping up maybe 10, 15 minutes because we're like, check, please. Before the bill comes, we just see him come down Ocean Drive with these 3 random white dudes that had rented like a drop top Camaro, and he was just sitting on the back of it the way you would if you were doing like a shitty city parade and you were like the commissioner. He was just sitting like on that back part, you know. And we
like
were like,
homecoming queen.
Yeah, and we were like, I'll call him H. We were like, what is H doing? We just watch him go by. Like, what is happening? This drunk black man on electric lemonades. So we go up. This girl has no luggage, so we go to my ex's place. And, because she's like, I got some clothes for you. They're around the same size. And this is back when like everybody had a cell phone, but like people weren't on them all the time. So I'll never forget, she called him from my girl's landline, and she just like still drunk, probably more drunk. She calls him. She goes, is that what this is about? I almost said his name. Is that what this is about, H? Is that what this is about? Well, fine. Well, come fuck me then. Come fuck me then. He came and picked her up, and they had sex that night. And as far as I know, they were together for years.
Oh, my God.
After that night, it just took some electric lemonades, and that was it. I don't know if they're still together, but I would be shocked if they didn't. Because she kind of liked him. I think it was one of those things where she hadn't slept with him, and then it became a thing.
Yeah.
And then now it's like weird.
Right,
and then he asked, and now she can't do it then.
Yeah.
And then so it got to be a thing. But I think they liked each other. But like it just took maybe him just getting in that random car with those white tourists and just making a lap around Ocean. We were like, what is he? Why? Okay. So let's help a viewer with their Bumble profile. Because
I have one more banger by, but I'm going to save it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right. Yes.
We'll save it.
We will
Chris
save
is
it.
nodding yes.
Absolutely. And so we were going to help this person. And this is what his Bumble profile says.
Well, hold on. You got to go to my safe word is more advice at gmail.com. And I'm going to answer a specific question that I keep getting asked. I know that y'all want to leave voicemails. We don't have that capability yet. So what I'd like you to do is just record yourself and send us a voice memo. We can play that and we can answer that. I want to be clear, though, because I have had this happen
And
previously.
also, we have the capability. You're talking about talking about us like a teacher at a parent-teacher conference.
Well, we're building.
They don't have the capability. Just have them send a voicemail.
Well, it would require me to have to wear headphones. I don't want to do that. So, all right. So here's the deal. Do not send me some fucking ambling, 2-3 minute. You got 45 seconds. Get in, get out. Tell me what you want to say, and then shut the fuck up.
See, but that's you. Y'all send me the long ones. I like the ramblers.
Oh God, some of them get really rambly. So, yeah. So, anyways, that was a really nice way of welcoming you to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do you have for me today? So, I like this idea of rating Bumble profiles or helping with them. Now, I want to say this. I have a friend, Franny. Everybody knows.
I love that name.
Yeah. Well, Franny's the best. Anyways, she used to charge. She's way bigger than this now. She did a TED Talk 2 weeks ago, just to give you an idea. She used to charge for you to go. She would go through your profile and like help you pick out the right photos and like say the right things. And that was about $500 per pop. So.
Wow, she must have had good results though.
She did.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't got no results to speak of. I get a lot of matches myself. So
this is your first clay in which you are to mold.
Yes, and when you send them in to us, you have to be clear. I guess this. Well, I haven't seen this yet. I want to make sure I know what you're looking for.
Yeah. So
who are you trying to get?
I think he just. Well, since he doesn't specify who he's trying to get, he just says, "Here's my Bumble profile. This is sent to us from our man TR." We'll leave it. Those are his initials.
I know exactly who this is.
Okay, so maybe what TR is looking for. So it just says Bumble profile dissection, and this is his message to anybody reading it. It says, "This is TR's voice here. Remember that scene in Elf where Buddy walks by the department store window, sees the lingerie for someone special? In that scenario, you are Buddy. I'm the lingerie putting a big dumb smile on your face. My humor is above average and emotional availability is sky high. Let's grab dinner or coffee."
I'm going to say no.
Okay. I would tend to concur, but I would like to know.
I think I know what you're trying to do. And I like that you're stepping out because I can't stand when I read something that like someone's just quoting a movie. It's just too lowbrow. Everybody's doing it. And I like that you tried to step out. It's just the analogy you made doesn't quite work.
Right. Like he's the lingerie.
It's too far out there. First, you'd have to know the movie well enough to remember that
first
scene.
you take acid, and then this will make sense. Yes, but no. What do you think he's trying to say? Talk me through this.
He's trying to explain.
I'm lost.
Like I used to say for a long time, like I want to wake up next to somebody that every morning is like, God, I'm the luckiest person. And so like sort of the idea is that he's the guy that will be, I'm the luckiest person.
Oh,
I think that's what he's trying to say.
So he's the thing. But do you put lingerie on every day unless you're working in a cat house? Why would you be wearing lingerie every day?
Well, he's trying to do the reverse. Like the way that you feel, like that special feeling, I would feel that every day towards you. I think that's that's the problem with this analogy. Okay, that's the problem.
It is the strangest analogy.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait, so
there.
you're the lingerie?
Let me see, because I don't mind
that's
the
his
other stuff.
Oh, that's his other one. That's the actual. So read it again. And this is almost like coded language, like you would send it in jail.
It's far too difficult to. Okay, remember that scene in Elf where Buddy walks by the department store window, sees the lingerie for someone special. In that scenario, you are Buddy. I am the lingerie putting a big dumb smile on your face. Now, this next line, I don't mind. My humor is above average and emotional availability sky high. Ooh, chef's kiss. Love that. Let's grab dinner or coffee. I personally hate a coffee date. Like, nobody needs to like. Yeah. There's bad breath. You might have to shit. Now you're yipped up on caffeine. It's the worst. I would take that out and just put drinks.
And plus, if you go on a coffee date and they go to the bathroom, you're like, the person sitting across from you just walked into a horrendous shit, and now they're trying to play it off.
It's just like all bad.
It's bad.
Now, that being said, I love my humor is above average and emotional availability sky high. Let's grab dinner. I would change it to drinks. I can't with this first line with the scene in Elf. We got to go with something way more obvious. If you're trying to say that you would put a big dumb smile on someone's face every day, I think there's a better way we can say that. Can you think of a reference for?
I would say this. I would say. Life is a lot like iTunes. You're going through and you're buying things, and then when you listen to it, you realize you don't like it. I'm like when you go to buy a track and you realize that you've already purchased it because you've been looking for it your whole life. I am a pre-purchased track on iTunes.
That's a lot.
I know. That's all I got.
Well,
what analogy would you? Because when you go to click on it, it's like you've already purchased this app, and you're like, oh hell yeah.
I don't know. I just had something similar. I matched the guy on Bumble at 6'4", and I was like, ooh, hey now. And when I was like, hey, like I did like the opener, like, do you want to grab drinks? Where do you live in Denver? And he's like, do I look familiar to you? Because we've definitely already matched before. I was like, no. And then he gives me his number, and when I go to put it in my phone, it already says Alex 6'4" Hinge. So I'd already matched with him. This was on Bumble, that was on Hinge.
But
and
do you think that times could be different? And like you
yeah,
could be
but I'm just
people?
saying, like when I like something, it's pretty like that's not that uncommon. That then I would go back and like be like, oh, well, this is my type. Like
that's
of course,
what stalkers say.
It was my type before. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're also married. Uh-huh. Yeah, I would say this. By the way, when do you remember the last time you and him matched up?
I have no idea. And I asked him, I go, why didn't we ever meet? Or because we didn't meet.
Oh, so yeah, that's what's up then.
And he was like, I'm not sure. And I'm like, you were probably flaky. I'm supposed to see him Saturday. You want to know something else random that I feel like I'll just tell because I don't fucking think it matters? Years and years and years ago when I lived in New York, I went to a nightclub and met a guy, and he's a basketball player, and he has a really unique name. I'm just going to say it because I don't think he would care. It was Emeka Okafor.
Okay. All
right, I make out with Emeka. I really don't think much of it. Like, we exchanged numbers, and I don't know what happened. I don't remember. It was just like a stupid, drunk makeout session. Well, I don't know, we're going to assume, because I'm not sure timeline-wise, maybe like a year later, I'm in the Hamptons, and it's 3 a.m. at an after hours, and this like gorgeous tall black man walks in, and I was like, oh, hey. And so I'm hitting on him. We end up making out, and then we go to exchange numbers, and when he puts his number in, it just pops up as Emeka Okafor, and he's like, shit, have we made out before? And I was like, I guess so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes me question something I've always wondered.
I can't remember a unique name. He's like probably 6'8" or some shit.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
it was like I'm
6'9".
such a moron that I like rediscovered him for the first time, just like I'm rediscovering this jackass on dating apps. I have a type, and also I have poor memory. I have early onset.
Is that the 2023 version of a tree falling in the woods? Because if neither one of you remembers did it happen?
Yeah, we knew it had to have because I had his number in my phone, so like that he's a celebrity that wouldn't happen. And then we sort of like worked backwards, like who do we know together? And then we like sort of pieced together. But yeah. Okay. All right, let me see his others. So, all right, we're giving you, that's the feedback on Bumble. Okay, here are these are his prompts on Bumble? Yeah.
Those are his prompts.
I'm showing this to Al. I'm the one that's on all the dating apps.
Okay,
all right.
Do you want me to read it so you
please,
can react?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I do.
Yes.
For sure.
All right, you commandeered the phone there. Okay, it says profile prompts. Make your personality stand out from the crowd. First of all, don't tell me what to do. All right, my personal hell is, and he fills in, hey there, I hope this email finds you well.
Yeah, I like that.
Very down with that.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Not cliche. Well done. You're 1 for 1.
Mine used to always be the door open button in an elevator.
Don't.
I'm not pushing it.
Oh.
You can make all the eye contact you want. You can get the next elevator. That's how they work. I don't use the door open button.
Oh, but you make eye contact. That's like
what
a mean queen would do. I just pretend like I'm like, oh, what's
Everyone
in that corner?
does that. I'm not.
Yeah,
you know how elevators work.
Yeah. Call the next one. Okay, he says, after work, you can find me either with my dogs, Carl and Maggie, with my eyes bleeding from grad school assignments, or smelling like paint thinner and sawdust from restoration projects.
Oh, that's really good because he cleverly tells you he's smart, he's in grad school, he's handy around the house, and he has 2 dogs. I think he did a nice job making something with that prompt.
Right. Yeah, I'm just maybe one more I might not answer. I'm so tired working with these after-school kids. That's just with a little cherry on top. But I think so far we're in agreement. He's 2 for 2.
I think that he's doing well.
All right. We are very fair. We did not dig the opening, but like so far with the prompts, you're killing it.
These,
Find your areas of strength.
Yeah.
Okay. And he says, I'm hoping that you, and he writes, listen compassionately. Okay. And so I'm fine with that. How do you feel about listen? Is that a little
it's generic.
Therapist-ish?
It's a bit generic. I mean, if you are looking to, so I just want to be clear, okay? Just so we're clear, you can.
I'm
send
listening compassionately.
Yeah, you can send these in to me all you want, but it's the pictures that matter. I don't ever read, and that's the problem. Like I recently read one, and I didn't read. He was good looking. I went to swipe, and then in the paragraph, one of the prompts is things you should know about me, and his first sentence was that I'm married, and I was like, well, okay, could have read that before but I don't ever read. I just swipe, and then once we match, I bother to read the rest of it. So you're not going to grab that many people. I maybe get the not so superficial ones like me. So it doesn't matter so much what you say. It much more matters what do your pictures look like. I can go on a tangent on picture wise what you shouldn't do.
We are going to wrap up because we've been going.
Yes.
But we're not going to leave the people hanging. Give people one tip for their pictures. Because I'm always curious. I was never great with pictures. I didn't know. Should they just be you?
Yeah, definitely just you. Jesus, that's the bare minimum. Clear shot of you where I can see your teeth. I can see your hair. You are not wearing sunglasses. I can assume what your body looks like. I don't need any shirtless photos. Like you can just be in a t-shirt and I can figure out what's going on under there. I want your height clearly stated if the app isn't one that you have to state that on.
All right, it's like getting a driver's license in Colombia.
Yeah,
right.
But like in the pictures, I could tell you a million, like I'll piece together for the next segment that we do on this. Exactly what things in pictures drive me insane. I mean, one of the worst is I don't know why guys think if I find that one picture of me where I was wearing a tutu or I was in a leopard onesie, that shows I'm whimsical and fun. No.
It's whack. People
I don't like
that.
it. Yes. I don't like it. You show me, where's the tailored suit that you bought when you had to go to a wedding?
Time to grow
show
up.
Show me the good shit.
Time to grow up. Let's stop talking about our dick in the first sentence and it's time to grow up.
Yeah,
where's your suit?
Yeah. Is that it for his profile?
That is it.
Okay. TR. Follow up if you want us to do the pictures, but I think you've got some workable stuff there.
Absolutely.
You gotta nix the buddy line.
Yes, but honestly, the incredible recovery from TR because when he with that opening, I was like, this is like gonna be like Ted Kaczynski's manifesto. He was borderline. The government's listening to me through my feelings. That was getting off the rails. But you pulled it back, homie. So definitely send us those pictures, man, and we will go through those. And you know us, we don't front, we don't make fun, we just give you the real. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you something, Corinne, because as you were talking, I was listening compassionately.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that one thing that we've talked about today, and it does make me sad, is that the fact that the show has to end. And it's going to have to end soon.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to tell you this. Your story about the tornado.
Yeah. It's pretty good, huh?
I have had a crazy day. and I needed that. And on behalf of the audience, shout out to Maine. We dedicated this to him. Shout out to your parents. Shout out to the baggage handlers at DIA
who
that
had to
dealt
endure.
with a very angry woman.
Yes.
And RIP to your travel credits on Southwest. But with that, I will say, my swimmers, we appreciate y'all.
We do.
Hitting these laps with us, y'all getting it together. As always, you guys know you can find me, Al Jackson, on Twitter, at Al Jackson IG, on Instagram, all that stuff. Corinne, tell the people where they can find us and yourself.
Yeah, so I'm at Corinne Sanity on Instagram. I don't fucking care about Twitter anymore, and TikTok I've just given up on. And for
great social media plugs.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I just
reach us by snail mail or stagecoach.
Why is it the Chinese or the Russians? Somebody's supposed to take TikTok down. Just take it fucking down.
Yes.
I can't
Corinne's
with
waiting
it.
for carrier pigeons to come back.
And you can find my Safe Word Is More on Instagram. And also we have Patreon now, and there's extra content. We have my 15-minute stand-up loaded in. He's got his robbery. We're going to keep adding stuff to that. Just keep checking back if you're interested in that. And that'll do it for us today.
Yes.
Given that it is death that is cheating me. I'm happy that I was still here.
That's right. And remember, guys, this isn't a podcast about sex. It's a podcast about...
Okay, that's not the line.
Perspective?
It's not a podcast about life. It's a podcast about perspective.
I thought it was sex.
No, we're not a sex podcast.
Well, we lean into sex. We lean against it.
That's not our tagline,
We're
sir.
not anti-sex podcast. We're ending it. We're just going to end it
tornado had nothing to do with
bickering,
sex.
like real friends do.
Yeah.
We love you guys.
No. We love you.
Check back in.
Bye.